right, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode. Amir, special guest. Amir is in the building. I met
Hello.
you from Monica from All About the Tea. Remember we used to do the panel show about the Housewives of Potomac.
So fun.
It was so fun, but the Real Housewives of Atlanta, I don't know about you, but it's boring for me.
What happened?
You don't
What had
like it?
happened? It's awful.
I personally believe that when you got Phaedra Parks, you got Nene Leakes, they need it. Like, you need that drama. They should have never ended that drama because Candy can't do it by herself. Candy, and I love her, she's a boss, but she's boring. Like, it's like it seems forced. And we've seen her for a long time. Now we miss Nene. It's been years since Nene been on. We miss Phaedra. It's been years, so it's great storylines. And I just dropped the story today on my website, wildertro.com. Kim have announced that she's coming back.
I'm down.
But she said she ain't gonna talk about the divorce. I'm like, but they still gonna bring it up.
Right. They're definitely gonna bring it up. And the whole like not bringing up the shooting, and then all we do is talk about her being a boss and getting an EGOT. Like, I hate to say this because it's kind of negative, but when people are thriving, it's not good TV.
No.
It's like,
you gotta be poor, broke. Messy. It have to be that way. I'm saying it's good TV. Like, I didn't even plan this, but you know, College Hill, I was watching it.
Yes.
And the drama part of it was when Jocelyn Hernandez and when Amber Rose, when they were fighting, but they didn't show the fight. But BT, it was all because of the college, and we don't want the college to be disrespected and all of that with the college. But you know what you're gonna get when you got Jocelyn as a person that is when she drink or when she snort her drugs allegedly, all that. And you know you got Amber Rose. One day she want to be black, one day she want to be white. And when she was dogging her out about her identity, about that she really want to be a white woman, it touched her core because ain't nobody gonna get up out their seat and ready to throw them hands unless it really hit you with truth.
Absolutely.
And she started to fight Jocelyn Hernandez. I wanted to see that fight, you know, and BET wanted to see the fight, but I guess BET said in order to save College Hill with the whole HBCU thing, we are not going to sort of and not be banned from all type of colleges, universities. So I understand.
Okay, well then do it at a community college. Like,
do it at a community college.
We want the drama. Like, I think that sanitized reality TV, it's become like a career bag. And it's like, that's great and get your money, but it's boring. It's too rehearsed.
It's very boring. And I always say I love real. I was on the reality show and I showed clips of it. They said, "Oh my God, it's so entertaining." Was it great? I said, "No, I was real." And that's just a piece that I'm gonna show you a clip of what you saw. I mean, we was cussing. It was a lot. It was real drama. And the synopsis of the show was YouTubers. We was all beefing on the internet. And so our producer came together and brought us all in the house and all on real beef. We met up for the first time. It was like real drama. And so that's what's missing. People was like begging, like, wow, this show needs to come out. This show needs to come out. I said, yes, because we missed the real drama, like real organic drama. I have a lot. I don't know if you Google me or research what I do on YouTube. I'm very messy, extremely controversial. But that's what I have to do. I'm just not Hollywood. I say some things I could possibly get canceled. It is what it is. And we're going to get into it. You may look at me like, oh, did he say that? Yes, because in America, we should be able to believe in what we believe. If not harming somebody, you should be able to have freedom of speech. You should be able to have, and a lot of people, I feel like, even reality show, I don't want people to think, make me feel like I'm the bad guy. No, in order for that sort of survive for us to watch, we have to see it. Like, let's say Zeus. I don't know if you're a fan of Zeus. Many people say it's ratchet, ghetto, and all those type of things to make black people look at. But I like it because when Zeus tried to do a show with following Black China, just a regular show, no views. When they tried to follow BTK, no views. But when they got a group of black drunk women or a group of whomever in the house drunk, and also it was an older white woman, For the Love of Trans, my favorite episode, they was arguing with her, calling her old B, and she was cussing and all that. I just love it all. It was just, that's entertainment because people want to be entertained. And people say they want I don't want the drama. I don't want the fight.
No, that's what you want.
But in reality, you want drama because when a fight breaks out, most people that record it and they're watching, you like everybody that say they don't like a train wreck. Majority of society, especially in this culture of Instagram and Twitter and everything else, it's about drama.
Absolutely. I remember like girls behaving badly, like people loved eating that up and it was so fun. But you know what's important, Wiley, is that like on TLC, there's a lot of shows that are ratchet ghetto, but because they're white people, no one ever says that. There are a lot more dating their children, dating their sister wives, swapping. I mean, that's pretty ghetto, but nobody says that because they're white. So I think it's just annoying. That's annoying.
And so you, for the people that don't know you, you're really active, I believe, on TikTok, Instagram. And I met you because you were Monica's friend, and you also, I just love your input.
Thank you.
I really, really love your input, and you be dragging on your IG and how you feel about stuff, like whatever you believe in. You don't play no.
I don't. Game. That's why I don't have brand deals. I have no sponsorships for Pride because I've tried to do deals and they'll tell me to delete certain posts. I'm never going to stand behind mediocre white men. Sorry. So if that means losing the bag, then I guess I lost the bag. I don't know.
And what's your definition of a mediocre white man?
I think a mediocre white man is someone who used nepotism and just got themselves to the top. And now they like to tell everyone else how to live and what to say and what to post. And a lot of these brand ambassadors that run these brands, they want to control what you post. They want to control what you say. And I just like to go with how I'm feeling and what is really irritating me in a certain situation and be able to say it. And really, I mean, as someone who works in Hollywood and has worked in Hollywood for the last 20 years, mediocre white men to me are people who consistently get opportunities, even though their shows fail, even though there's no viewers, but they get chance after chance after chance. But I've seen talented Black, queer, BIPOC women writers who get one chance. If your show don't do well, out you go, and you really just don't get another opportunity. So that's my definition of mediocre white men. It's people who consistently get opportunities for really showing up half the time.
I agree. And I also believe like that have to change. And that's going to get into our topic here. But our first topic, let's talk about Senator Tim Scott, because they were talking about systemic racism, right? Do it exist? And he was on The View and they asked the question, the panel asked him the question. He said, no, systemic racism do not exist. And he was talking about, look at me. I'm a Black senator. We have a Black sheriff. He was talking about all the success of Black people. I want to ask you, do you believe that systemic racism exists in this country?
I mean, as a child of an immigrant, Persian, queer, Muslim, it would be really ridiculous of me to sit here and say that it doesn't exist, right? My dad, he came to this country with like $200 and, he made it into like this multi-million-dollar business with hundreds of employees. That's amazing. But did he deal with a lot of racism along the way? And did he get lucky? I think, yes, luck is a part of it, right? So I think that to say that you're not going to think about anything but like, you're just going to say, okay, look at me. I'm successful. I'm a Black man. I'm successful. Absolutely. And that's amazing. And we should celebrate that. But to say that systemic racism is not holding people back, that's ridiculous. Because what people don't understand is affirmative action helps white women more than any other group of people. But all they do, I think that conservatives are the loudest. Hence, people think they're right? They spend so much time being keyboard warriors, all of Pride, trying to tell us we should get one weekend, that veterans deserve a whole month. I understand all of that. But the systemic part of it is that if I walk into an interview, even though I can be white passing, when they see my name, the first question out of their mouth is, where are you from? America. I had someone in an interview tell me, wow, your English is so good. Can I cuss? Because I'm going to say the B word, honey. Because my English is better than yours. I was born in this country. I've written books. So that kind of comments are very systemic, and they're very much in the workplace, and people will say little microaggressions. So I think for him to sit up there on The View and say it doesn't exist as a representative of a very racist party, let's be honest, I mean they are. So to sit there and say, hey, I'm a Black man, I'm speaking for all Black people, and saying that, I just thought that was it was very tone deaf.
Well, for me, I kind of differ in a sense. Okay, we are in this system. I get that, but things have changed in this country. Things
100%.
have changed. I believe that Senator Tim Scott is speaking to his base. He is a Republican. In order to win your seat again as a senator, you can't be saying, oh, yes, systemic racism exists. You will lose your job. Just like when Kamala Harris, they asked her a question, is this a racist country? She said, no, America is not a racist country. She may, in her private life, believe that America is a racist country. But in order to keep her job as the vice president and to keep Biden's job, I'm not going to disrupt or make white people that vote the most, make them feel bad. And they would use that again. They will weaponize that. And a lot of white liberals will get upset if you say that. So again, I understand what Senator Tim Scott is doing. He's trying to protect his bag.
Yeah.
He is an African American that needs to be respected because he is a senator. He's and they brought up the question about diversity. He brought up a very good point. He said, my staff is very diverse compared to my Democratic white people. Their staff is not that diverse. So on both, and then he said on both sides of the aisle, they can do a better job addressing.
Absolutely.
They both can do a better job addressing
I agreed with that.
issues. But when Senator Tim Scott said what he said and had that conversation on The View, I'm going to be very, very honest with you. A lot of African American people that do have a lot of money, that is educated, that was never poor, that was never on food stamps, that was never on Section 8. They always have lived a very comfortable life. A lot of them believe in, don't be a victim. I was able to get it. You can get it. And I believe in some part of that message. I do. But I also believe that it is certain people in this country that do need help. Case in point, I didn't always believe in food stamps. I didn't. I talk bad about people with food stamps. And then one particular day I lost my job and it was homeless and I needed food stamps. So I was like, oh my God. And so now I switched it. I don't mind you being on food stamps, but don't just be on there for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
Use it as a temporary service, temporary. But then I'm a broaden this. It's a lot of people, when you talk about welfare, a lot of corporate companies get a lot of welfare, tax breaks, that's welfare. You get all these breaks. And so, you know what I'm saying? So I don't feel bad. And I also don't feel bad if you decide to be on there for 30 years because you have corporations get all billions on top of billions of tax breaks. So they've been getting it since the beginning of time. It's some rich people don't even pay taxes because of the tax code. I've had, you know what I'm saying? And they've been, so why would I get mad at anybody, especially in my community, that say, hey, I want to live up on the government for the rest of my life? All right. Because the government have been taking care of the wealthy class for a long time. If you look at the wealth gap, I mean, the top 1% own so much of the wealth in this country.
Absolutely.
You understand? So I also believe when conservatives, they try to talk about welfare and they try to talk about and some liberals talk about it too. It's a lot of white people that's on welfare. Section 8 program. Every government program that we have, there's more whites on those programs. The only issue is they're not going to broadcast that on the media. They're going to focus on people that look like me. They're going to focus on that. But when I was on food stamps in Texas, when I went to the food stamp office, me and my friend was the only black people there. They were all white in line getting their food card. So, but you have to live more and expand and just go outside your community to see how things are operated. And this is why it's so important to hear all sides of the argument. And one thing I've learned about media, because I'm in media, that they have their agenda. They have a boss. And there's whatever their agenda is, that's their agenda. They're not going to give you a full picture because it's not sexy enough. I'm going to give you the highlights, my agenda. If I don't really like black people, I'm in a power. We're going to make them look bad. That's Fox News and somewhat CNN. And we're going to drive that conversation. So that's why it's important for African Americans like myself and whomever that have wealth or power on social media to start building up the infrastructure of black media. So you can give a perspective that cater towards African American people. Because when I started covering city government, there is no black outlet like I am that's streaming on YouTube, that's asking these questions, that's talking to Black people that is there about the whole migrant situation. So we must get involved in media. So again, I look up to Senator Tim Scott because that is somebody I should look up to. He's a senator. He's not out here committing crime. He's not out here like Fetty Wap with one eyeball in prison for selling drugs. I mean, I'm just, you see what I'm saying? You know, he's not on the reality show fighting and all that. He's really somebody that you can tell your children about. One day you could become a senator. So I'm not going to, and then this is the issue with a lot of white liberals and in the View, a lot of them, they beat up on our Black professionals because they don't agree. But at the end of the day, that's still somebody that should be honored. And I didn't like it when he was on The View. They kept interrupting him. This is a senator. You supposed to show respect to him and allow him to give his argument. And if you have a counter argument, then you give your counter. But don't interrupt him as a senator. Allow him to get his point across. And I don't like it because just because the person don't agree, allow him to get his point across. Because at the end of the day, he is a senator. And he have a right, we have to hear the other side, because sometimes we don't want to hear the other side. We just want to, but no, we have to sit down. If we want to make this a better place, we have to be willing to compromise and also listen to the other side.
Absolutely. And I think that it's also important to mention that, you know, he's not coming off unhinged like a Ben Carson, right? He's not a Candace Owens. He's not saying things that are just way out there on the right and it's like ridiculous. So there is some points that he's making. And even what he said, and I've seen this even in Hollywood, where a lot of very liberal white liberals will have an entirely white staff, right? Like even in Hollywood, right? So saying we do diversity and we're all about, you know, queer stories, and there's not one queer person on their payroll. There's not one person of color in their payroll, right? So I think that that's a really valid point, that at least he's making sure that his cabinet, his staff are diverse. And I think that's wonderful. I mean, it's a great point.
And that's why the media job asks those questions. What is your Black agenda? I'm Black. So I'm 1000% committed to my people. I don't think about nobody else. Everybody else should have their own representative. You get your own representative. I speak for me. And every question I ask any politician I come in contact with, what is your agenda for Black people? In the city of Chicago, I word it like this: what is your agenda for the Black residents in this city? What is your specific agenda for them? And then with the migrant situation, I've always asked that question because a lot of times media don't speak for us. They group us in Black and brown, but you have some brown people don't identify with the Black struggle. They don't want to be grouped in with us. But people that's in a power, they will group us all together because they want us to join their struggle. No, they have their own struggle. We have different, because when I talk to the residents right here in Chicago with this whole migrant situation, their idea is different. They believe what Trump believed. No, send them back. We don't want them here. We already starving for resources. And you mean to tell me they get to come here, get an apartment, get clothes, get food, medical care, and we have residents that's been living in this city for years and don't have a place to stay. They're living on the street. They rarely can go and afford their insulin and their doctor. And you mean to tell me you're getting people with no type of rights, they don't have a birth certificate, and they're getting all that? That's wrong, and it's a slap in the face to the Black resident of their city. And we have a right. We're not xenophobic. We're just saying is, if you got money for them, have money for us as well. And don't say that we can do it both together, because that's a lie. That's a damn lie.
That's a fantasy.
Together, you would have been did it. You never did it together. And so that's why we have people boots on the ground that is actually, you know, saying, no, we're not with that. And so that's why I say with Senator Tim Scott and Republicans, period, they got a good argument in 2024. And I'm going to say this to Republicans. If they really talk to African-American people and go to the Black community with that message, they can if they can't get them all, they can pick a dilute, especially Black men, some of that support. And I believe Senator, I'm gonna say this, and y'all might not believe me, I believe he knows he's not gonna win the presidency. Right?
Right. He knows. Yeah, it's a 2%. Yeah.
It's that he's not. But what he can possibly be is the VP. Like, you don't think that. Because I think the Republicans, what Biden have, they have common, they have the women. But I think what Republicans may do, because they want Black men to vote for them, they probably will allow Senator or somebody Black to be the VP nominee. Because a lot of Black men love to support men. That's why Stacey Abrams lost, because she was a woman. Black brothers didn't want to. We still have that. It's a lot of Black brothers don't want women in that type of authority. They want them in the kitchen cooking or in the bedroom. You still got some brothers that have that mindset. They don't say it out in the opening, but they show it in their votes. They don't want Kamala Harris. If she was a man, probably so. But that's why I believe that Senator Scott, he's auditioning for another job, maybe Secretary of State, maybe something. But I don't. You know, he's not going to win president. Does this?
Absolutely not.
2%. So
absolutely not.
Let's move over there. Everybody keeps asking, like, where do you have a YouTube channel? Like, are you on YouTube? Like they ask.
I am. I mean, I'm not very active like you are. But yeah, I mean, I'm on YouTube. But I it's just Amir Yas official. But yeah, I don't really. I'm not like you, where you're really
right. And I'm not like you because you're very active on the TikTok. You're very active on there. And I'm gonna drop your TikTok in there so they can follow you too. Perfect. But we got to talk about Miss Martha Stewart. You know what I'm saying,
honey? We do. Before we do that, there's someone made an interesting comment. They're talking about how they don't. I saw one of the comments. Vanessa Rudegal is saying, I don't wanna. If I'm spending $500 on groceries, I don't think it's fair that a mother with 6 kids is then having to kind of get free groceries. So I think there's a lot in this country where we get really frustrated about where our taxes are going. But that's just one little sliver of where your money is going. It's not like they take all of your money and then just put it right there to welfare. It's like there's roads. I mean, it's really a small percentage. So I understand that frustration, but really it's not like they're taking a big portion of your personal paycheck and giving it to this woman. By the time it trickled down, it's really nothing. So I don't want people to think that's how it works.
I understand. I understand that argument because again, people are saying, "Hey, I don't have children. And I feel like I should be able to get a big old tax credit, a refund check. I should be able to get a big old refund check. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be that I have to go have children to get a big fat refund check. I want a fat refund check. I need some help, but I feel like they cater to people with children and people that don't have to feel a type of way. And at the end of the day, because let's be clear, even when you're paying cash for food is expensive. It's very expensive right now, right? Yeah. And so it is difficult to pay for food if you ain't really making it. If you only making a minimum wage or you making above minimum wage, then you won't even qualify for SNAP. Especially with this new bill, this new budget that has passed, it's going to be a little harder to even qualify to get on there because he had to compromise to pass it. So I understand that argument, but again, when you look at the budget, most of that money is going to other countries, some other countries. And the military.
Ukraine?
Yeah, it's going there. And but I'm not stupid. I understand why they're doing it because America do not want to go into another war.
Right.
They don't want to embolden Russia to say, okay, we took Ukraine. Okay, what is going to stop him from taking another country? So that's America. Even though we may get into it's all been rumored that we may get into another war out there with China because China look like they want to back Russia. It's all a game. So that's why I tell us to always, when we watching social media, is to watch the media, read the newspaper, but read as many perspectives as possible so you can see what's going on. The average people now just get their news on the Shade Room.
Totally.
They need to get their news there, so they don't even know what is going. If the Shade Room don't post it, it didn't happen. But it's a lot of things that the Shade Room don't post on there at all.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
So that was Senator Tim Scott, and I love him. I don't care what nobody said. People think, I want to interview Senator Tim Scott because I think that if we could give Boosie that diss black women and talk about children and diss people, we could give Senator Tim Scott a chance.
Ain't that the truth? All right.
Miss Martha, I love her. I never had her cooking. Hold on, let me wait till my niece go past. Because she just
it's okay, honey. Let's see what these comments. I'm being rude when I'm being Vanessa Rude gal, honey, you be cleaning up these comments and you are just getting people gathered, honey. Okay.
So I want to say to Miss Martha, because this is typical a wealthy person. She's saying, about remote work. She wants people to go back to work. And I want to make sure I quote her right. Because she ain't the only one that's saying it. A lot of people with money, they're saying that. She said Martha Stewart is making her stance on remote work clear. The 81-year-old, I didn't know she was 81, She's on the she said she wanted to get people back in the office. The businesswoman spoke on the subject during a recently published interview with Footwear News. During the sit down, Martha took it upon herself to straight up declare, this is a quote from her, "You can't possibly get everything done working 3 days a week in the office and 2 days remotely." She went on to throw France into the mix, as many people in the country famously take 1 month, typically August, off work. Look at the success of France with their stupid, off for August, blah blah blah. Before moving on, she took a shot at France by declaring that it's not a very thriving country.
So, okay, boomer. Okay, boomer.
So what do you have to say? Do you agree with her that it's making people lazy, that they're not as productive as workers working from home?
I mean, has Martha not heard of Entrepreneur Magazine, honey? Why are you getting Footwear News? What's Footwear News?
I never heard of Footwear News.
I need to know Footwear News. Listen, Martha's confusing to me because she's either very open and she's friends with Snoop Dogg and the weed and the cooking and she's all open, and then she's friends with Pete, Davidson, and then she turns around and kind of shows her age, right? So she's showing her age by saying, listen, people need to go. Why do you care when you're Miss Insider Trading, honey? Why do you care where people are going back to work or not? Right? So that's confusing to me. And there was a study done they had a 4-day workday in Iceland, and they have a great, thriving economy. And everyone's happier. And also, I understand the inclination to say France is not a thriving country, but are the people happy, right? America's all about such late stage capitalism that we're all about die at your desk. People used to keel over at their desk, and that was normal in these corporate companies before the pandemic. But I think people realize I can get the work done in 6 hours, and it's perfect, and it's done, and I can get paid for 8 hours. I mean, people are getting smarter. They're like, I can work 3 days and make enough to pay for my family instead of having to commute to work, go to an office. Are they worried about us having chit chat at the water cooler? I just don't understand. I understand the inclination, but Facebook is completely remote. My friend works as a lawyer for Facebook. She works 60, 70 hours a day, but she works from home. And she's happier. She can be with her son, but she gets the work done. I mean, if you don't get your work done, they're going to fire you. So I don't really understand this kind of outdated view of if you don't go back to work, everything's going to fall apart. It's not.
I don't believe that either. I agree. You can get the work done. My friend, she works from home. She she does HR and no, I'm sorry, she does payroll. She does it all from home. Yeah. All of it is done. The work is done, and she goes in the office maybe once or twice a week. It depends on her. I think about once or twice, but all the work is done. I think, and the companies get to save money, but the issue is a lot of buildings they want people to come back because they want to charge that high rent. When they lease out all that office space, so they're kind of suffering. And then in Chicago, they're going through that. They want people to go back so they can go to restaurants, so they can go shop. You know what I'm saying? So that economy can thrive. So I understand that point, but for me, if the work is getting done, right. What's the complaining? The work.
That's what I don't get. I'm to fill a bunch of ugly office buildings, you want people to literally spend 2 hours getting to work to just walk around, I don't know, some building in Times Square. That doesn't make sense to me, but I understand because everything leads to capitalism. It's not, they make this narrative where people are at home, I don't know, just walking around naked and not doing the work. You can't do that. If you have multiple Zoom calls and you have meetings and you have deliverables, you can't get away with that. So it's odd.
No, you can't get away, and people love it. And I think that even as me working in nursing as a CNA, right, it's a lot of places they're suffering to get CNAs. Not because CNAs don't want to work, but because of the pandemic, a lot of them were getting a lot of money traveling, going to New York, and they went from making maybe $12, $13 an hour to $25, $26, $28, and some even $30 an hour as a CNA, not as an RN. Wow. And so now they're different. So now when I go in a place, I don't do full time. I just pick up, and then I pick up here. Or if I want to travel for 6 months, I travel for 6 months. It's so much. So now these companies that was paying you pennies, they got to go up to about $19, $20 an hour.
Absolutely.
They got to, because if you want workers, you got to go up on the price.
Absolutely.
Yesterday's price is not today's price, in the words of Fat Joe. So this is where a lot of work. And then you remember during the pandemic, they said, "Oh, we can't find workers; they don't want to work because of unemployment." No, that's a lie. Is that people? Okay, people don't want to work for pennies anymore. The problem is when you get unemployment, that was the biggest money you ever seen in your life for certain people. Majority of that, they never seen that type of money before.
Right.
And now they're like, I don't want to work for $9 an hour no more, or $10 an hour. You got to pay me a little bit more.
Right. I think people realize their value. And when you realize your value and your worth, companies, corporations, they don't like that because you're a cog in a machine and they don't care about your mental health. They would rather you work and just die at your desk. I mean, and I'm being a little facetious.
But that's true.
But also, I think
have heart attacks. They go through so much stress and all of that. I get that. Right. They have done it. Even in Japan, they sleep everywhere. Because of the long work hours. And it's sad. It's just really, really sad. And people have to work, especially in a corporate. It's a very stressful job. It's a very stressful job. It is very stressful. And
also Wiley, her saying it, it's like, you're a white woman who's a billionaire with multiple homes. I just think it's like, that's the part where I'm like, I think sometimes when people millionaires, I feel like are a little bit okay. Then you get billionaires. And I think you just lose all sense of, it's like, remember when Kim Kardashian was like, get up and work. You better work till you die. It's like they just get so out of touch. And I think that's just another example of just
she's 81. 81, her mindset is just outdated.
Right.
It's very outdated. We're not in 1960. There will be companies where it just and this company exists, just nothing but remote, because you have to change where the industry is going. It's a very fast-paced industry. It's some jobs you will never long have anymore because of AI, because of robots. They're already doing it. So you have to adapt with the times, or you're going to get lost in the sauce. Absolutely. But I had to.
Thank you, She's saying great discussion. Hi.
Somebody said working from home isn't as easy as people think. You have to set boundaries with your job because they think you're going to work for them all day.
That's true.
You have to set boundaries with your job. Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to set boundaries with your job.
Absolutely.
Because this is why I stopped being a scheduler in a nursing home, scheduling the nurses and the CNAs, because it was no longer 8 hours. I found it was like a 24/7. I said, and I'm not getting paid for 24/7 because the phone is always ringing. Somebody baby daddy or the baby sick or this, I ain't coming. My car broke down. Can you come in? And you got to find people. It was just too stressful, and that wasn't enough for $15 an hour. It's just people is tired of that, and they tired of listening to rich people, wealthy people trying to give us some advice when they got all that money in the bank. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to live to do a budget. Do I have to buy eggs a day, or is I'm gonna get some bread because I can't afford both? I get one or the other.
Right.
So Martha have several seats, and and you pretty much work from home. When you was in prison, you was out working, and it was a good prison, very nice prison, really nice. It wasn't that prison that my people, because it was nice. It was a vacation, and you know what I'm saying. So hopefully Snoop Dogg, I don't think he would say nothing because he's in bed with her in business wise, but. That's sad that she made that comment, but no, she's trash.
Okay. I don't like that. Wiley, someone said she deserves to go back in prison for that comment.
I believe that she deserves. I don't believe that she goes back there, and then maybe she has dementia. Kidding. Who knows? She a little older. Maybe she needs to be checked because she really didn't really talk like she was. I thought she was that. She pretended like she was down, but her real side. And I've learned with elderly people, baby, they unfiltered. They believe in what they believe. They stubborn. And they're going to say whether you like it or not. They're just going to say it. Aretha Franklin was the same way. She was just, what do you think about Taylor Swift? Oh, yes, beautiful gowns, nice gowns. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like our elders will always tell it like how they, even if it's wrong, they're going to tell it how they feel. Yeah.
Right.
So, let me see. I got to talk about President Donald J. Trump. According to the media outlets and the Department of Justice, he has been indicted. I believe it's up to 32 counts from having, and the pictures that I've seen, he had documents with the new codes with this code all on the floor and everywhere. That way. Okay. All on the floor, and they had just boxes everywhere. And he was very careful. Then he lied about it, said he declassified those classified documents. They said, no, you can't do it. And they said he lied, and just now he's have about 37 counts. So just what do you think? Do you think he and let people know if he, let's just say hypothetically speaking, he goes to prison, he can still be the president. If he
America.
This is America. Now he can still be the president. That's the kicker. He probably would be the first president that will have a West Wing in the big house.
Okay.
Because wherever he go, they will have to change the entire system.
Wow.
They cannot. They didn't want to put him on no handcuffs. They have to have this a delicate because it never really happened in history. Never really happened. And this is the first time this ever happened.
Bizarre.
So he didn't take no mug shot. He want to take a mug shot because that's how he gonna get money. And the Democrats, no. But already, if you look at the polls here, he's up. He's still number one. He just went up a couple of points.
People like that. People like the prison thing.
People like that. Oh my gosh, he's going to get the system. It's a swap. His argument going to be, and Ron DeSantis can't compete with that. He can't compete with that because Trump have always, even in his video, they said Russia. It's a hoax. Russia. And, and I was impeached twice. They had nothing. This is a hoax. It's just, to me, I feel like this is coming out, and I want to hear your thoughts about it. I want to hear your thoughts about this with President Trump. What is your thoughts about this man being indicted again?
Well, I don't want to offend Miss Bella who said Trump 2024, but I'm going to go right in. There is many videos on Instagram and TikTok where they interview the Trump supporters and show them the videos, and they say everything's fake news. Everything. Listen, I really believe in this country. If you want to vote, you have to have a full set of teeth, honey. You can't be out here looking crazy trying to vote, because I really believe that voting is a privilege, right? It's not, I really think it's not it is a right, but it's a privilege. So I think that a lot of people really abuse that privilege, and they don't vote, or they just kind of just go with the person that's ridiculous. I'm like, are you thinking about when someone takes classified documents from the White House, has no respect for the office, then says it's all made up and it's like the Biden administration is dangerous and coming. I mean, how many times are you going to throw if he's been president for 3 years? Are you ever going to move on? And then all of these senators, not like regular people off the street, senators are still calling him President Trump. It's 2023. It's been 3 years. You got to move on. So that's the part where I don't really understand. But unfortunately, the more you're in the press, I worked as a publicist for years, good or bad press. If you're on top of mind, people are going to remember you when they go into the voting booth or they vote from home. They go, who do I remember? Oh, Trump. So that's kind of scary because I don't want to deal with living in an episode of SNL for 4 years again. I'm not a huge Biden fan, but at least I don't have to sit around and see how ridiculous at least everything that comes out of his mouth is. Yes, the man keeps falling everywhere, but at least he's not saying some stuff that's just so ridiculous constantly. But this is going to help him. So I don't know.
Absolutely. And my thing is this. I think this is so sad as an American. Mm-hmm. And this is an election season. If you want to do this, let's see how this election is going to play. If he win, wait until he's served his time as president, then you charge him. I believe this is election interference. I believe this at the highest power. You cannot tell me that all these things were happening for Trump with classified documents. Now that he's getting ready to run for the second time, we miraculously find these documents and it's all on the floor and it's everywhere. I can't believe in that theory. What I believe, if I just say this is true and that this have happened, President Biden had classified documents as well. Some on his press, some say in the garage. They say it was at his residency. Same thing with Vice President Pence. So what I'm saying is, if all of these classified documents is going on, and if Trump getting all this, then what about President Biden? then what about Vice President Pence? And then what about anybody else, other presidents that we don't know that took classified documents? I believe that President Donald J. Trump should not be indicted for these classified documents, because and until, if he would have just gave it to another country, that's understandable. But he didn't. They keep saying, I just don't believe. And when I saw the picture, all boxes leaking all on the floor, and I just this don't seem right. Like,
so it feels staged.
I think it's staged. I believe that President Donald Trump is being set up, because there's nowhere in the world he's the president. Oh, he said, all right, give me about 3 boxes, get the other 4. These classified documents. Believe me, I'm the president. Like, I just don't believe that. Like, who transported the documents and just spread it all around the floor?
To Florida.
It's in Florida. And it's like, how did it get there? And why are we just hearing about this now?
Well, I think it's backfiring, though, because I think it's given him, like, I think they wanted to take him down, but I think it's done the opposite, because now it's like people are going to, like, vouch for him.
They're going to vouch for him. And this going to help his argument. And he really ain't got to play for commercials. They're talking about him wall-to-wall coverage, just like they did in the past. They gave Trump all this wall-to-wall coverage, Trump, because they underestimated Trump. Oh, he's a joke. He's funny, a joke. And he won. I believe, and Democrats, unfortunately, they're sleeping, because the head man he fell down. We feel bad for that.
Right.
He's not as charismatic. When I say sleepy, he don't keep my attention. Trump is very funny. He's entertaining.
He keeps your attention.
He's not a robot. Okay, let me forget about the teleprompter. Don't pay him, you son of a bee. Don't pay him. The teleprompter don't. Now, he don't do a teleprompter. Whatever's on his head, okay, we went to the building. We shot him like a dog. It was a beautiful dog. Like, whatever's in his head, I like that, because it's not as scripted. And let's compare him when he was the president. We wasn't dealing with all this high eggs and high bread and all this high inflation, right? Interest rates was low under President Trump. I believe that President Trump, what messed him up, and he probably would still be there, if he would have been serious about the pandemic. He wasn't serious about it. Right. That like China, really buried him. It's China. Like, he made it a joke. He wanted to have fun, so just put a little bleach, drink it, just a little tab of bleach, pine salt. Like, he was just making jokes. And I think that if he was really presidential for this crisis and handled it well and did a good job for that, he would have won. He would have won.
Yeah, but he looked ridiculous.
But he didn't handle and it wasn't just an American crisis. It was the world shut down. And I think that he thought it was a joke. He still wanted to be the same Trump, lie, downplay. But you couldn't downplay the facts. And that's what's not in that particular case. And I think if he would have handled and was very presidential, he would have won. But now, okay, it's quote unquote over now, right? The pandemic is over. Now a lot of people said, I want Trump in. Now you got a lot of migrants coming to Chicago, to New York. And now these cities saying, we suffering right now. And it's going, from my sources, they're about to start dragging President Biden. Because they're saying, like, why do we have to keep paying for these people with our city budget, and it's breaking our budget? What about the federal government? So all in the Republic, they're waiting because they keep sending them busloads. They want as much confusion and mess as possible, because that's how you win. Chaos creates votes for the Republican. Whoever's out of office, okay, and that's a smart. I mean, it's very. Let's say it. It's very smart. When you say you're a sanctuary city, okay, you're a sanctuary. We're gonna bring all these people in your sanctuary and send them busloads. And because we already know what you're gonna say. Bad. You're not gonna put them with white, wealthy people. You're gonna put them with black people, poor black people, or people that typically will vote Democrat. We're gonna put them in their neighborhood. Right. Now you get black people saying Trump 2024, Trump. These are black people. Build the wall, just build it. People in the hood, that never really was talking about Trump. Get him in there right now, Trump. We need Trump. I'm voting for Trump. A black woman told me, I'm voting for Trump. And that argument, and now Trump, I just can't, I don't mean no harm, Amir. I'm ready for the debate. Because when I tell you I'm going to get a good old kiki, that's going to be so much entertainment, especially the Republican debate between Mike Pence and Trump and all that. That's going to be lit. And I already know Biden going to get Joe. If
he's going to get pummeled.
Trump, Trump got Joe Biden.
Yeah, he's going to get him.
He fell. I don't fall. Biden fell. Did they have to like, because he throw out shots. See, again, that's why I like Trump. He's just entertaining to me. Like,
he's more entertaining.
He's more entertaining, and a lot of regular people, they're more interested because he's entertaining. So
absolutely.
So
and also, like,
I would ask you this before you get to the point. Do you think he's gonna go to prison? Do you think they're gonna put him in a jumpsuit? He's gonna be eating 3 hots in a cot. You think he's going to prison?
Absolutely not. I mean, if he's gonna go to prison, I mean, I feel like, I don't know, like pigs are gonna fly. Like, I don't think so. Like, it's gonna be very shocking if they do, and if they're gonna do it, it's gonna be this whole like PR crazy thing that's only gonna help him. If they put him in a jumpsuit and take a mugshot, I mean, like, he's probably gonna like put that mugshot in his office. Like, he knows what he's doing. I mean, listen, I don't like Trump. I'm never gonna vote for Trump. I don't like racist, homophobic people. But the point is, he knows what he's doing. So whether or not he even feels like, even in his private life, he might not be racist, knows that that's what his base wants. They want someone who's out there being confrontational and controversial. He's great PR. Taking that red hat and putting it in a glass case at that first debate, you made it seem like that was a like supreme hat, a product. Like, he's so smart. Like, you got to give him credit for that, right? Like, I will always give him credit for that. But what I think is interesting, and I saw this tweet, when you're 70 or 80 and you're working in a corporate environment, you're retired. But we literally 80-year-olds are running our country. I mean, that's really more my issue. That's why I like Senator Scott, because he's young. Like, he's younger, like Obama was younger. Like, I think it's important that there should be an age limit for becoming president. I think no older than 70. No older than 70.
You said that Trump is a racist and that he's homophobic. Do you think President Biden is a racist?
I think he probably is. He just doesn't say the dumb stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I think Trump just says it, like you said, which is what you like and a lot of people like about him, is that he says the stuff, right, that people want to hear, right? So he says like "con flu," and I mean, that's racist. Those are racist comments.
So
right?
who are you going to support then? So you're not going to vote at all this election for next year.
I mean, I'm not happy with anyone. I mean, I'm like, because even Kamala Harris, we celebrated her and she's done diddly squat, right? Like, what has she done other than laugh around town? I mean, she's done nothing. So
that's not true. That's not true.
Frustrating.
Kamala Harris, and this is why media, they're not broadcasting what she do. And let me tell you about Kamala. Do you know that Kamala Harris wanted all debt to be canceled all? Do you know who disagreed with that? President Joe Biden.
Oh, yes.
He wanted to be in the middle. Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris said, cancel it all. People, and you got to understand, when you are the vice president,
can't do much.
You cannot upstage the president. The thing is, she's out working. The media don't cover it. They don't put the cameras. They're not interviewing her. They're not broadcasting the wall-to-wall coverage. She went to Africa. She toured Africa. She went out there in Tennessee when those 2 state representatives were expelled. She went there before President Biden.
Wow.
So she's there. She's doing the work.
I didn't know that.
She's right now doing something because of the system, the algorithm. And we talked about, a system that is going on here in this country about the algorithm with housing. When you're trying to get your house on the market, what is that? What you have to do before you get your house on the market? They come and appraise it.
Appraisal.
And appraisal in the system, that Black homeowners they're getting their property appraised lower because, and then when they switch up and get like their white friend, they put white pictures.
I saw that.
A different appraisal, whoosh, the same house, 80, 90,000 more. And
So
Kamala Harris is trying to change that algorithm, the system. But you don't hear about that because it's not on CNN. It's not on the Shade Room. It's not on the Ball Alert. It's not on Vlad. They don't have on Vlad to talk about that. But she's doing it. And how do I know this? It's because I'm just not watching that. I watch Roland Martin, and I see all the stuff that she's doing. I see her tweets. Now, what she can do is have a media team that stream everything she does.
Yes.
And post it and have a social media. She need a younger social media team like Obama had. And now it's more social media now. That's how President Obama got in. He was really good with social media.
Yes.
I believe that social media, you have to have a social media team to put it in social media to show, and in 60 seconds, to do a 60-second recap of the things that come here. One thing that President Obama did, he used to do the West Wing week. I mean, he used to summarize within a 5-10 minute video of what he did in the White House, the administration, for that 1 week. They used to do the same thing for President Biden and for Kamala Harris. They have a bad job, and the NAACP, all the organizations that's doing the work, they're not broadcasting it and putting it to the masses. Because and it's sad to say this, but if you don't show the people, they're gonna say what you said. She ain't doing nothing. I don't see it. It ain't on the Shade Room. It ain't on the Jasmine Brand. You ain't gonna see it on the Jasmine Brand. They're not gonna post that because their job is mess to get the clicks and views. If we post a positive story about Kamala Harris, unless just like her husband, when he gave First Lady Biden a kiss, that went viral. But unless it's something messy, they ain't gonna post nothing like that because in their mindset, and it's true, when we talk about this, get the lowest amount of views. But when we talk about mess, they have 500-600 people in the chat because people like mess. Just admit it. You like mess. And the reason why Trump is so good, because he's messy, he's controversial. That's why the media love talking about it, because he ain't boring. When we talk about Biden, I remember this. I'm gonna say this when Trump was on 60 Minutes. He said, why you don't ask Biden tough questions? You ask Biden a question, ice cream. Sir, what kind of ice cream you got? Ice cream. A very soft hard ice cream. You don't ask Biden tough questions. No, you don't. Like, it's just like, I don't care what nobody say. I can go back to I go back to old debates to watch with Trump.
No, he's very entertaining.
He's very entertaining. And then with Biden, unfortunately, he puts me to sleep. Baby, when he I couldn't even watch his State of the Union. I had to read the transcripts and seeing him deliver it, he looks sleepy. It looked like his eyes.
Yeah, it's not engaging at all.
It's not very engaging. And Ron DeSantis, he don't really have the charismatic, but what he does, he's more dangerous than Trump because he have a record of the things that he have done. AP history, get it out of here. Don't say gay. Going back and forth with Disney. Told the immigrant, if you got no papers, if you part of DACA, the program that President Obama passed, that the executive order, that if you got parents that are illegal immigrants, you were born in this country, we would have a special program to make you to be able to have those rights. Well, Ron DeSantis said, well, if you part of DACA and your parents, if you get caught living with people that's undocumented or illegals, you can get a felony.
Okay, well, where is a 9-year-old going to live? Like, that's why he's dangerous. Like, it's a no for me.
So when people talk about Trump, Ron DeSantis, I look at his record. He's very, very dangerous because it's in law. But I think people are not paying attention what Florida is doing because the media is not doing a better job to question him about the thing. Now one thing, you may disagree with this, when they use the word woke, and they said, what is your definition of woke? And, yes, I don't believe that transgenders, men, should be playing in women's sports. That message to you, because of how you identify, that's transphobic. But to the Black people that I'm talking to, and that I pose that question to especially Black women, they don't want a male putting on a dress and makeup to play in female sports and using the female restroom. They don't want that. That message is going to be very effective because they're constantly on that talking point. And it's a lot of African-American people. When you talk about that, they on the Republican side on that. They're not as liberal as you think it are. If you talk about that, they don't like that. They don't like that at all. And if Biden keep talking like that, all Trump got to do, I'm going to help you, Trump, is get black women on your side to do commercials about, I'm a black woman, I was born to be. That's going to be effective because even though I may not take all the vote from the black community, all I got to do is take a certain percentage, a couple of, maybe if I take 20 or 30 or 40, and because it's all about the 270. So I think that, this is going to be a very interesting race, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I mean, if he wants to take that transphobic route, it's probably going to work. I mean,
it's going to work because
people in this country hate trans people. They hate queer people. 1% of Americans are trans. So, I mean, I think the hysteria around this, and I know a lot of trans people. I don't know one person who's like, I'm gonna put on dress, pretend to be in girls' sports. So for people who are saying that, I think it's a bit hyperbolic, but I understand. And again, you know that community better than I do.
Yeah, because I think it's true. Like, even with the thing is, these woke people, let's put trans women in women prisons. Okay, go do that. Mm-hmm. So they did it for this particular guy. He was African American. You know what he started doing? He started having sex with the female prisoners. What happened to those female prisoners? What just happened? They start getting pregnant. Because if you locking somebody down, you gonna get horny, and that thing gonna rise. I'm gonna keep it real. You there with that person 24/7, you can't go nowhere, and start humping the female prisoners. Because no matter what you identify is, okay, get that. But you still got some downstairs that if it turn on and go and activate with that womb, something gonna happen. I don't care how you feel, how you identify. Science a baby here, baby, pregnant. That means somebody has some sex. I can identify all day. Today, I can identify all day how I feel. But if you use that penis, insert it in a womb, a baby can be conceived. That ain't gonna be like that egg gonna be like, oh, I reject that because that's a trans. No, science gonna always trump how you feel. That is facts. One day I feel good. And then we talk about feelings. I know they're gonna be right, but I feel like I don't want to pay no rent. We talk about feelings. I feel like I don't want to pay no more rent. I feel like,
but this is someone's identity, Wiley. It's not feelings. I think and it's one example, and this is what people do. They use one example as like, oh, look what happened. This is a bad example. Or, what happened in like a sorority. There are thousands and thousands of trans people who have nothing to do with this. So I think that what you're saying is I think it's dangerous, but that's just me.
So I don't think it's dangerous because.
Okay, well then I'm gonna have to go because I'm not gonna sit here with transphobia. Sorry.
No, I don't think this issue. I don't think that is transphobia. I don't. See, this is like my opinion. This is how I feel. This is how it is. We have to be able to talk, to have a conversation, whether we agree or not agree. It is what it is. This is how I feel. And see, whether you agree or not agree, it is what how it is. I have plenty of things of how I feel when it comes to stuff like that. And at the end of the day, I mean, there's multiple examples. There's multiple examples. I have to be me. I have to be me and have a conversation. But again, when we have these topics, I don't want to say that I'm going to be honest. When we talk about and standing for something, we have to have in-depth conversations, whether we agree or disagree, because there will be people that will not agree with your position. But the problem is, some people in this country want you to believe in everything they believe in. Once you disagree, they're done with it. But we're talking about a situation where I can go back to when it was an African American. This is a black show. He was in a female prison, and he got the female prisoners, some of them pregnant. Because if you put that in there, it's going to happen. Why do you think they don't allow people to do conjugal visits? Most prisons don't allow conjugal visits. They don't. Because in their mind, if we're allowing this, then there's going to be a lot of babies. How the government going to take care of the babies? I understand their reasoning. But if we're allowing transgender prisoners to be in a women prison, then why can't we have for the men to have conjugal visits? Why can't they have it? Because you think those women in that prison are going to try that person in there? You in there, you locked down 24/7. Everybody got needs. Everybody got a emotion with a sexual desire. You going to rise to the occasion. Just like it's some brothers that went to prison, never looked at a guy that way, but you slipped up. You allowed a guy, you let a guy to touch you, whatever, because you locked down with that man 24/7. So I will say this: I will not be surprised if you in jail, or if you or prison and you dealt with a man. You may not say it. It's a whole, you may not say nothing about it. In your mind, I ain't really that way. But okay. But I will always have a conversation about what I believe in. And we have to agree to disagree. That's fine. You can't, Amir, he can't do the show. I understand. We did the show. You don't agree. I understand. I understand. Okay. I understand. But this is the Wiley show. And we won't take. Do y'all want me to open up the phone lines? I don't know if y'all want me to open up the phone lines, but we can open up the phone lines and we can talk about it on the phone lines. Give me a quick second here. Let me open up the phone lines. But I didn't listen. This is our show. This is what we believe in, and I should be able to give my opinion, and everybody should be able to give their opinion and have an in-depth conversation. But they can't use the whole trans thing against me because I have an argument that doesn't bother me. You label that, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we should be able to have. I might not agree with everything, LOL, but you better stand up for yourself. All right, so we're gonna open up the phone lines, you guys. Oh my gosh, we gotta open the phone line. We love people. We love everybody. Okay. Do y'all want me to open up the phone lines? When it comes to stuff like that? Okay, so let's open the phone lines. I wasn't praying this. I don't know why we got to the subject, but he brought it up because he kept saying that Trump was racist and he's transphobic. Okay, what about Biden? And then who are you going to vote for? Oh, but I believe Biden is racist, but I just he don't broadcast it. What's the difference? I would rather have a dog that is vicious out in the open than to pretend like it's a poodle. When I get close to it, it bites me because it's still vicious. So I don't play all that. I don't play all that. I made love with plenty transgender women. I love transgender women. I have a friend that's trans. I love transgender women. Okay. I love to get down with the get down. No, you guys, we got the phone lines open up. A question came in the chat. EA said, why did you bring him in to talk politics? What made you think he had the same views as you? Or were you trying to troll him? No. It's not about having the same views. It's about having a conversation. I don't want to always have a show that have the same views. That's kind of boring. I want to show on, we have my side, his side, and sometimes we would disagree because the world don't exist like that. This world, everybody not going to agree what you agree with. We don't live in that type of world. So you have to talk to people on the other side. I like to talk to people on the other side. I may not agree what they believe in. Yeah, he knew the topics that we're going to talk about, EA. I've been doing this, EA. I said we're going to talk about Trump. We're going to talk about Martha Stewart. We're going to talk about Senator Tim Scott. You hear what I'm saying? I've been doing this, EA. You talking to a person that's been on this platform for a long time, and I always tell you the agenda of the show. Okay? They said it's difficult to talk about black issues with someone who isn't, but you have to talk about people that is part of the dominant class. You have to talk about people with black issues. You have to. You have to talk about those. You have to. And I will continue to talk about people. Absolutely. Someone said, enjoy your weekend. The judge and jury, Evie. Is it Evie? Yes. They said he's the reason Biden has no choice but to put a plan in action where Asians needed protection. And it's not just for Asians. That bill was for everybody. It wasn't just for the Asian. It's not. There's no such thing as an Asian bill. Go. Show me the bill, and it's just an Asian. It's for everybody. That there's a whatever day. Absolutely. They said, or maybe he thought you would feel the way that you do because you're bi. I don't know. That's something you have to ask him. They said this society. Society tries to box brown and other minorities with us, like they fight for us on black issues. So these are the conversation. Anybody else want to say something? God bless you and thank you, everybody. Where is the bill for black people by itself? Where? Okay, that's an amazing, great question. Where is us putting it and putting that pressure on our United States representative, our state, whatever, to give those bills for us? See, that's a great question. And if that don't exist, then we as people in this chat need to tell our state representatives, our senators, to say, hey, write a bill and put a bill that will help and benefit black people. That's a great question. But the question would be, are you participating in the political process? We had a lawyer on our show. He write laws. He write bills. Bills. He writes them, and he's an advisor, and he write bills. And some of the bills that he wrote is actually state law. He helped co-author. He helped, write some legislation for the Safety Act here in Illinois. Let me see why Tito that show privilege. Dan pray victim as usual. I promise it won't come from Trump. Bingo. I thought Biden supposed to go through with the lynching bill. Yes, but it failed. No, it was passed. The lynching bill did pass. I believe it passed. I believe so. Give me a second. Did it pass? Hold on. I'm going to check. Okay, the Senate passed the anti-lynching bill, sending federal hate crime legislation to Biden. Yes, they passed that. Yes, they did. They did pass that. Back in 2022, the Senate anonymously passed a bill on Monday that criminalized lynching and make it punishable by up to 30 years in prison. It sailed through the House of Representatives last month. President Biden is expected to sign. Yes, he signed that bill. Absolutely. As just what they said. Actually, they said right here. They said, as soon as I was at the age to vote, I was there, not just voting for president, mayor, governor, judge, etc. All right. Let me see. Oh, he hung up. Oh. Wait a minute. This ain't the one. Wait a minute. I got to put on the white Wi-Fi. Give me a second, you guys. Hung up. Like, we got to be able to have we have to be able to have conversations. And while having these conversations, we have to be able to talk to each other, whether we agree or don't agree. You know. They said y'all need to worry about your money like out of the other stuff for now. Without money, what can you do? Absolutely. I'm worried about the money too. Absolutely. 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 We had an amazing conversation, y'all. Did y'all enjoy the show? I wanted, they said, wasn't that lynching bill for wasn't that lynching bill? Listen, a lynching bill is for if you get lynched, whatever your color, as you would get 30 years. That's a law they can use to prosecute you if you do that. Without this, that's not just for black. That's for whomever. That's whomever, you guys. They don't be like, oh, wait a minute, they want blacks. You know, come on, y'all. Come on, a lot of y'all better y'all better read them bills.